Charlie Kirk recklessly spread false information about people dying from the coronavirus vaccine. I mean, this lie is so outrageous and based on faulty information. And we already know what the consequences are. We know what the ramifications are. But I want you to hear what he has to say here. We'll debunk it and make sure if you hear this again, you understand why it's a lie. Take a look.
The new VAERS data, according to the CDC website, VAERS is a public portal that you can plug into the vaccine adverse event reporting system, shows that there is as many as 12,313 deaths after getting the vaccine. We've also gone into detail about how the VAERS and the FDA, according to this study of the Electronic Support for Public Health Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, shows that it really might only reflect 1%. So if VAERS is off by 99%, that would mean 1.2 million people died after getting the vaccine.
You heard it here, folks. Charlie Kirk thinks that as many as 1.2 million people have died from the coronavirus vaccine. What is he basing it on? First, a database that's open source, meaning anyone can write in it, and it's not necessarily credible, and I'll get to those details in a second. And then he tries to do a little math and gives you, or ends up with the 1.2 million figure. Now, VAERS, what is VAERS? It's important to know what VAERS is because it's not some place you go to get peer-reviewed data on something that's been investigated properly by doctors and healthcare experts. No, that's not what's happening here. In fact, if you go to the website that he's referring to here, there's a disclaimer. There's an important disclaimer that he's not telling his audience about. A disclaimer on the VAERS website says, the reports alone cannot be used to determine if a vaccine caused or contributed to an adverse event or illness, in part because they may include incomplete, inaccurate, coincidental, and unverified information. People accessing the database must click an option that says that they've read and understood the disclaimer. Meaning that if Charlie Kirk actually went to that website, he had to say yes, that he understood. He clicked on that disclaimer, but he's spreading the misinformation anyway. He's doing it anyway, because it's his bread and butter. This is what he does. Discouraging people from getting a life-saving vaccine is what he is interested in doing here. He knows what the truth is. I would be shocked if Charlie Kirk hadn't gotten vaccinated himself. But Charlie Kirk's own close friend died from this coronavirus. The person who co-founded Turning Point USA died from the virus. Didn't care about his friend, certainly doesn't care about you. So he'll spread this disgusting disinformation. Dr. Richey, what do you think?
I don't like him professionally, and I really don't like him personally.
Same.
And when you do something like that, because it's an obvious violation of the trust that people have in you, right? When you're willing to do something like that, knowing what the truth is, it shows me that you are a bona fide sellout. That's what you are. And every motivation you have for what you're doing right now is motivated by money, because people will keep paying him to say these ridiculous things, and he's willing to give them all of this ridiculous rhetoric about COVID-19, the vaccination, and not even share with his audience the reality of what the portal is about, right? He just decides not to share that, but to share this ridiculous mathematical equation he made up himself. And this is where I'm a regulation guy, right? I don't think people like that should have access to platforms. And I know that people will push back and say, Doc, that's going too far. But you got to think about this, and this is going to be a sobering statement. And I hate to say it. People are going to die because of that man.
Oh, 100%. I'd be shocked if people haven't already died because of him. I think that people like Charlie Kirk should face serious legal consequences for intentionally lying to people about the vaccine. He knows Charlie Kirk knows. He comes from a well-to-do family. He knows what the truth is. He has to click on that disclaimer before he has access to the VAERS website. He knows that it's open source. He knows that it's not reliable. He knows that it's not official numbers connecting deaths to the vaccine. But he does this anyway because this is the kind of like disinformation nonsense that he's cultivated throughout his entire media career, if you can even call it that. That's what he's been doing from the beginning. But it's not so funny and it's not so cute when you do this in regard to a deadly pandemic. When you do this in response to a vaccine that literally saves people's lives. But he doesn't care. These people don't care. That's the thing that, look, we live under a system that communicates to us daily that profits should always take priority over people's lives. Profits over people, profits over people. We get that communication day in, day out. So are we really shocked that people are gonna value financial incentives over people's lives? I'm not shocked. It's just incredible how they're able to continue doing this every single day, knowing that people are dying, and I feel like there's no way of stopping it, really. Because we do have First Amendment protections, right? I think you do start entering some pretty sketchy territory when you talk about, censoring people. But there needs to be legal recourse. There needs to be a way of going after people like, Charlie Kirk, who are intentionally spreading these lies that are getting people killed. Or people are dying because of these lies.
Yeah, that's right. And remember, he's not talking about some alien conspiracy theory. He's not talking about, the flat earth, right? He's talking about something that literally will lead to the death of other people. And if we're not able to at least take a closer look at what our rules and regulations are in this society, when it relates to your misinformation, your intentional misinformation leading to the death of other individuals in the middle of a freaking pandemic, then do we really have a great country? Are we really exercising our freedom of life? This notion that we're supposed to be able to express how we feel, yes, but at the same time, when there are dangerous operators like him, there should be a protection in place so that he does not create carnage, actual bodies dying because of his intentional abuse of the freedom of speech.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, we really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.